everyone. My message this morning is titled, Connect the Dots. And when you hear these three words, you might think about one of those little puzzles, you know, with the numbers, and then you connect the dots, kind of like this. There you go. Whoops, nope. Yeah, there it goes. Okay. I thought, it's not going. Anyway, and so we think about those puzzles that we connect the dots, and this particular one is a light bulb. And light bulbs are a symbol for ideas, but we can also look at them like they're an example of divine ideas, which means ideas that come from God. So anytime you look at a light bulb, that can trigger something within your mind to stay open and receptive to whatever the message is that you are going to have. However, sometimes our lives look more like this one, right? It's just going, we're not connecting the dots, it's all going crazy, we're just on overload. I mean, we're not aligned at all, nothing is happening, you know, and we're not connected for sure. And it's just exhausting. It can be just so exhausting that we just feel overwhelmed. We feel like there's no symmetry in our life. But when our life has symmetry, like this one, then we can experience that symmetry, and we can feel it throughout our whole body. And when that symmetry happens, isn't that a cool thing? Don't you love this? Yeah. And that's the way our life should be. It should be that total symmetry that we have. And that's when we connect the dots. And the dots are infinite. And it is this flow of energy that happens. And when the dots are connected, it switches the energy of everything. So, when we are trying to connect the dots, the questions become, what are we really trying to do? What are we really trying to do? And how can we allow ourselves to let Spirit guide us? And both of those questions are puzzling for us in the human condition. A lot of times we are in this place in our life where we can't figure it out. Don't you have moments where you think, oh, not just going in the other room and forgetting what you need to get, but you have moments where you're like, what is my life about? What am I supposed to be doing today? What is it that I'm supposed to do in the future? And when we can actually think about connecting the dots, it makes it a whole lot easier for us to be guided. And I think we all strive to implement spiritual principles and capital T truths in our lives. But it's hard sometimes, you know, because we read, we learn, we listen, and then we go forth and try to live that truth we know. And on the good days, we get excited, don't we? I like to say I feel that inner joy that just comes naturally. And that's a good thing. But a lot of times we fall short. So what power is overtaking us that does not allow us to be able to experience that? I know some people will blame the devil because it's easier to put it out there on someone else or something else. And yes, we all do it, believe it or not, because we think or say things like, this generation, whichever one you're blaming this week, doesn't know anything. Anybody ever say that? Yeah. Or we might say, why don't these people get out of my way? Anybody ever say stuff like that? Yeah. Or, what the heck is wrong with everyone? Ever say that? Yeah, I think we do. I think we've all been there, done that. And that's the thing. Blaming someone else is not the answer. It never is, never will be. It's on us, isn't it? It's all on us. We are the ones overreacting to lack. And you might say, lack? Reverend Francie, how can that be lack? It is lack. Claiming a form of lack is for whatever what we think the issue is or isn't. Because when we put it out there like this, or we blame the devil, or we blame somebody else, we're putting it out there. We're not claiming responsibility for what is happening within us. And the only thing we can change is what? Is us. We can't change anything else. We only can change us. See, lack is thinking there is a deficiency, something missing, something not right. We do that, don't we? We think that sometimes. We think something's not right, or we think we don't have enough, or something's missing. So-and-so's got this and I don't. But that's what it's about. It's not about that at all. And when we're overreacting to our own lack, then we cause ourselves a lot of turmoil and stuff. So it's important to understand this. And if we think there is something missing or not right, we are not seeing through God's eyes. God does not see lack in anything. And I like it for us to think about that because of the fact that you're not seeing through God's eyes. If you have any turmoil within you, stop and take a breath and say, wait a minute, how is God viewing this? Is that me? How is God viewing this? Because that makes a whole lot of difference if we see it through God's eyes. Because God is what? Like you already said this in meditation. Good. I don't know why this is doing this, but it's annoying. Nobody likes that sound. Nobody. Now, you might be saying to me, Reverend Francie, it is so-and-so's fault. They're the ones that did that. You know, I know they did. I know they lied to me. I know they did this. I know they did it on purpose. Anybody ever say that? Oh, yeah, we say it all the time, don't we? And the problem with that is we're still putting it out there. You might as well just say you're blaming the devil for everything in your life that's bad. But if it's our thoughts that are perceiving this and we're not seeing as God sees, then whose fault is it? Our own. That's right. You see, God is only abundantly good. And the lack that we see or create is in the human condition, created outside of principle, not through spirit. So anything that we want to blame anybody else on is just the human condition. It is not who we are as a spiritual being. It is not who we strive to grow and be when we lift up in consciousness. No, it's not. And we have to think about that. We have to see how that is showing up. We cannot blame anything on others. That's right. That's what I said a minute ago. We cannot blame others for anything. And we have to keep repeating that in our minds. We cannot blame others for anything. I don't care. I don't care if so-and-so hit your car. I don't care if so-and-so stole money from you. It's still just the human condition. It has nothing to do with who we are on a spiritual level, right? Yeah, and we don't have to let it affect us. That's on them. They did it, not you. And whether or not you felt like you were like innocent or, you know, enabling or whatever the case may be, it's okay. That was the human condition. Now you can change your thoughts to thinking more in the spiritual realm of things. I'm sure you've heard the old adage, it is none of our business what others are saying or doing, but it is our business what we are saying or doing. Meaning we have to be the ones to take control of our own thoughts. We have to hold the high watch no matter what is going on. We have to, like I said, see through God's eyes so that we're not falling into that turmoil and chaos. We want to live by the capital T truth, I call it, meaning God's truth, meaning the truth that we know to be who we want to live from and how. And the spiritual principle and spiritual law of the law of mind action states, thoughts held in mind produce after kind. Everybody say it with me. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. And if we remember that one law, it can change so much because whatever we're thinking is going to show up. What do you want to have show up?
Good.
Yeah, good. We all want the good, don't we? Nobody wants bad stuff to happen. So if bad stuff starts happening, what do we need to say?
Don't feel divine.
Produce after their kind. That's right. You need to do the little ditty. Because the minute you do that, the minute you put it in your head, guess what? You're going to manifest something better. Think thoughts of lack, dislike, or negativity, and the results will be, our lives will be manifesting lack, dislike, or negativity. Think thoughts of abundance, love, positivity, and the results will be, our lives will be manifesting abundance, love, positivity. Isn't that a good thing to think about? I mean, and plant it in your brain, because the minute you tell yourself, oh, I'm sick, or I'm so hungry I just could die, or any of those things, those are words that you're putting out there, thoughts that you are sending through your body, energy that you're sending through your body, and you know what? We're powerful beings. We have the energy of God moving in us, through us, so we can manifest whatever it is we're saying. And if we're saying things that we don't want to have happen, then we have to change that, right? And we can hold it for other people too, even if they're not if they don't change. But in our own minds, we can change how we see them because we want to see them like God sees them, a beautiful child of God. Now, I have to make a clarity point here. Abundance is not just money. Please know that. It could be an abundance of good thoughts. Who wants abundance of good thoughts? I do. Viewing things around us in a new light. Can you imagine if anything that triggers you, that has happened to you in your childhood, happened to you, you see something and you go, oh gosh, that just grosses me out, or whatever it is. We can change that. We can have and view things in a new light. And that brings us a lot more happiness and joy. Or experiencing more happiness and goodness. Isn't that what we want? That's abundance. That's abundance. It's not just money. People get hung up on the whole money issue, and it's not about that. But if we want more love and positive energy happening around us, then guess what we have to be? Love and positive energy, don't we? Yeah. What we focus on is what we produce. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. What we focus on produces. And I know I want to focus on what? Good. That's right, Becky. Say it. Good. How about you guys? You want good? Good. Yeah. And here's what I believe to be the issue with us when we don't do this. In the human condition, most people are trying to find control, and I did it capital letters, in their lives. Control is a big thing that happens to a lot of people because a lot of us want to control everything and everyone around us, don't we?
Yes.
And we either try to manipulate, lie, or cheat those we encounter, or we do the opposite. We run and hide so that nobody can do that to us. How many people do you avoid because you don't want them to try to manipulate you or lie to you or cheat you? I know I've got a list of people I avoid because I don't even want to go there. And is there anything wrong with that? No, not really. Because I know that I can lift them up and see through God's eyes and behold the Christ in them and love them and hope the best for them and see the highest good coming forth for them. But if all I'm doing is living in their negative stuff that has happened, or the reason why I don't want to be there right in the face-to-face all the time, if I live in that, then I'm hurting who? Yourself. We hurt ourselves. And why do we need to abuse ourselves that way? Why? We don't, do we? So the control we're trying to have is the ultimate culprit of the idea that we can't connect the dots. And we know the only thing we can control is ourselves. The control we are seeking can only happen within us. The control we long for, though, is the balancing point with God. So as much as you want to say control is, making your life be exactly how you want it to be, it's not. Control is really God working in your life, making everything the way it needs to be. Which is going to be what, Becky? Good. Good, that's right. Everybody else got it now? And when we control ourselves, we don't have to be concerned with anyone else out there that is trying to control us. You know why? Because their behavior will no longer be effective against us. It will simply not be effective. We will not go there. And when that doesn't happen, then guess what? We are not reacting to that, are we? We aren't even seeing it anymore because we're seeing it through God's eyes. We're seeing a whole different picture, which is really powerful. And you want to talk about control, that's the control you have by aligning with God, because you're allowing God to move in and through you. It's a whole different feeling. God allows us to control our thoughts, but we must align them with what? With God thoughts, which are always what? Good. Good. You guys are getting this. Good. The gift I showed you earlier of this infinity circle, if you will, it is. It's an infinity circle. It doesn't have an end. It doesn't have a beginning. It just keeps going. And believe it or not, it was funny because when Daniel was over there, Phyllis was over too, and the boys brought this up. And I said, oh my gosh, did you get that out of my bag over there? But I buy two of everything because the boy keeps the boys from fighting over everything. So Phyllis got to see this, and I said, oh, I'm using it in my talk this Sunday. So she got a preview of the infinity circle. But the circle is kind of representative of our thoughts with God, really. Because the circle has no end. And God doesn't have an end, does God? No, God doesn't have an end. And good and truth are like that too. They really don't have an end. You know, when we start thinking there's only so much good for everybody to go around, we start living in lack again. And the minute we take that barrier down, we see all the good. We experience all the good. We get to share in all the good with everybody else. And that's where I want to be. I want to be in that party. You know, where everybody's enjoying. Somebody has something good happen. I want to celebrate that for them. Somebody says something brilliant. I want to celebrate that with them. And isn't that what we want to do? We want to be in that circle of people that can lift us up and see us for the good thing that we are. And if we allow good and truth to be in the forefront of our minds, we will have more good and truth in our lives. Not only in our lives, but it'll be the foundation. It'll be the base from which we live. And in living from good and truth, I'm telling you, you're going to be like on a Ferris wheel, having fun, or whatever amusement park ride you like. Because me, I don't like roller coasters. But the thing is, a circle lasts forever. It lasts forever. God lasts forever. So, there's a lot of things out there, material things, that don't last forever, do they? And most things that even they say last forever deteriorate to some degree or another. You know, even a diamond can deteriorate after time if it's down in the dirt and mud and getting kicked around, whatever. Now, how many things, can you name things that last forever? The things that last forever are the spiritual things. Love, joy, peace, all of these 12 powers. And you see, spiritual truths last forever. They last forever. And this is what we need to stay focused on. We need to stay focused on that desire in our hearts and minds that brings forth that idea of balance and everything that we need. Now, we do have to block or erase anything negative that's standing in our way of how we really want to live, and we know that. And I think when we are trying to control others, we are looking for stability in them rather than stability in ourselves. You know, a lot of the people that irritate you or you don't want to be around, or you're tired of listening to them or whatever, you're thinking, man, they need to get some stability in their lives. They need to get it together. They need to think about what they're saying or what they're doing. When in reality, we are the ones that need the stability. We are the ones that need to stay at that even keel with God, that we are not in that reactive mode, or that we're not living in a world of lack. And that's a big difference in how we live and how we think. But when we search within our own hearts for God's good, we are going to find it. And you know, the truth is, if you are trying to have a stable relationship with somebody and it hasn't been working out, you probably never will have a stable relationship with them. So you got to let that go. But when you let it go, you don't have to let them go per se in your prayers or in your hearts or the love that you have for them or whatever. If you can love them and behold the Christ in them, even when they're not around you, you're doing more service and more good than you would be if you're trying to tell them they need to go get a job or go do this or go do that. Right? And the only person that needs to be stable in this is ourselves. We need to stand on the footing that we have stability in our lives. The good and truth, capital T truth, that we are trying to live for is the foundation for how we can create stability in our lives. However, we can give everyone an opportunity, not by trying to change them, but by finding balance within ourselves. So when we find that balance, we're not going to get rocked one way or the other. We're not going to get deceived. We're not going to get used or abused. We are going to be able to stand firm. And that's huge, because balance is the happy place. If we're balanced and stable with God, that's a happy place. Balance is that spiritual steady space within our minds that can allow us to excel as spiritual beings. And when we find that spiritual balance, guess what? Our thoughts are in that spiritual balance. Our thoughts are no longer veering other directions. Our thoughts are in the idea of balance. So we can claim balance for ourselves and know that we will not be pushed away from God. It is impossible. It is impossible. From Ephesians 6:10, finally, be strong in the Lord and his mighty power. Be simple quote, and so much power in that simple quote. Be strong in the Lord. Be strong in what you know to be truth. Be strong in the idea of God in your life and the power that you obtain through that is huge. Now, there's another part of this quote that goes on in verse 13 through 15. It goes like this. Therefore, and I want to tell you this, the stuff in the parentheses is really the interpretation or meaning to the word, to the quote. Therefore, put on the truth of God, so that when the day of negative thoughts comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything to stand, stand firm then with the strength and wisdom, with the love of right thinking in place, and with understanding, with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. All of these capitalized words are divine ideas. They are the 12 powers. They are the basis that we can go to. And if I tell you that when we think of evil, we just think of that as being negative thoughts or missing the mark or something in the human condition that is not aligned with God. That's all we have to do. Just bring in, take away the negative thoughts. Strength and wisdom. On your body, strength and wisdom is in this area. It is that area within. So when they say buckled around your waist, you know that you can activate the power of strength and wisdom through God, and that's what the waist is all about. I think a lot of times too, now that we have learned how much stress affects our belly fat, you can understand that if you're not making wise choices or you're not using the strength of God in your life, why that can grow, why that can be bigger than you want it to be, because it's fighting what you are really wanting in your life. So do a lot of work about wisdom, do a lot of work about strength, and it really makes a difference. And if you look at the flags, the banners, you know, that's faith, love, strength, wisdom. Those two right over there, the green and yellow. There's a little ditty there that you could read, or Kat likes to take a picture of it and read it throughout the week. And it really does help to focus on the powers. The breastplate, that's where love is based. Love is that in that breastplate of your body. And then we all know that Charles Filmer always defined righteousness not as being better than everybody else, but by choosing right thinking, by being in that place of right thinking. And then, of course, your feet are, I told you this a few weeks ago, your feet represent understanding. And if your feet are hurting, you're not getting understanding in your life. You're off kilter. You're wobbly. Couldn't think of the word. I can do the motion. So all we have to do is focus on, I don't know why that is. Focus on that and activate those 12 powers. That's what God gave them to us for, is to activate the power of God in our lives. You know, and then what happens is when we are ready and we find that balanced place, well, then we are ready to connect the dots. Thank you for being here today. God bless you. Okay. Why is it doing that? Okie dokie. I got a song for you. It's called Oh My Soul. So I thought it was